Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is the day that the Lord has made. We can, in the midst of all that is going on in the world, we can rejoice and be glad in it. Preacher, how can we rejoice? We can rejoice because God is still God.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody else God but Him this morning. Still sitting high, lifted up on His throne in His magnificent palace. And here's the good news today, that He looks low into the earth and that He seeth us. Oh, what a mighty God we serve. I'm glad this morning, how about you, to be in relationship with Him through Jesus the Christ. I'm saved this morning by His power divine. I'm saved to new life sublime. Life is now sweet. My joy is complete because I am saved. Good morning to all of you that are online and wherever that you are. I'm just glad to be in His presence again on this first day of the week. We've been through so much this week. We've been through some heartbreaks. We've been through some challenges and some disappointments. We've been through some why God and how come. I said to the men in our church on yesterday through text to say, listen, some things we don't understand.
That's right. That's right.
But what we can do is to trust in the Lord. Because He's still trustworthy. Coming this morning from the New Day Church of Christ in Largo, Maryland, Pastor Monica M. Lowe Howard. I'm glad to be in your kitchen, in your library, in your at-home office, in your living rooms, wherever that you may be. I'm glad to be with you today. We've had quite a week this week. A week that is just unexplainable. Really, we've been through the last 3 months. The coronavirus, unexpected. In a matter of hours and days, schools shut down. Workers furloughed, and some even laid off. This week for me, I don't know about for you, but it was filled with distress and anxiety, tears and anger and frustration.
Well.
It was filled with that, yes, even in the midst of my being saved. Come on, be honest, I'm sure some of you experienced the same thing. As I looked upon it, as I thought of my 2 adult African-American males, as I thought about my African-American nephews, as I thought about just black and brown males in general, it caused me some distress, some anxiety, because I found myself asking God, how long will we contend with this? the days, early days of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and Andy Young and Jesse Jackson and Walter Fauntroy and others, John Lewis and others, just being beat and tantalized because of the color of their skin.
Yeah.
And here we are in 2020, and all of us across this nation was rejoicing that a new decade was coming, new days were ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, we were excited about 2020.
Yes.
And yet 3 months in,
My Lord.
and then 5 months in,
My God.
coming from the dogs and water hoses,
My Lord.
escalating now to military troops and National
You
Guards.
talk about it today.
The Bureau of Prisons, correctional officers. The FBI, the ATF, and many more that we don't even know, marching into our cities and states as if they owned them. That I'm reminding that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof.
That's right.
All of us that dwell therein. Seeing the public execution and lynching of an unarmed black man. Laying handcuffed, prone on the sidewalk of Minneapolis.
Yeah.
And the knee of another individual in his neck.
Yeah.
On his neck. And just think, if there were no videos, we may not be talking about this today.
That's right.
Now you may say, well, I've heard all week, and why are you lifting it up? I don't know. You have to take it up with the Holy Ghost. But he had me to focus on the neck. The neck. Early on, if you remember, they didn't talk about the back or his legs. The 8-minute and 46-second filming took place with an individual's knee.
Yeah.
Law enforcement to protect and serve. One who didn't flinch, didn't look around, but only was reactive. But where was the central point of all this? On a black man's neck. I researched because the Spirit would not let me alone about the body part that is significant. The neck.
Yeah.
The neck. And we will find out today at the conclusion of this matter about this body part. The neck.
All right.
Turn with me to the book of Genesis and around maybe the 30th to 35th chapter, and you can check it for yourself. We're introduced to a biblical character named Joseph.
Come on now.
But let me talk for a few minutes about the body part, the neck. All of our body parts play a role and is significant, but the most important role of the neck is that it supports the head.
Okay.
Dr. Ali Masataf wrote in an article that the neck houses arteries that supply blood to the brain from the heart.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Tell the truth, tell the truth.
The brain is the computer of the entire body.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't get much blood, it will perform under par, and all of the systems of the body will malfunction.
Yep.
Let me tell you again what Dr. Ali says. He says the most important role of the neck is that it supports the head. And it houses arteries that supply blood to the brain from the heart. So the heart, there's arteries in this neck that causes the blood supply to go from the heart to the brain. And we know the brain is the computer of the entire body.
Yeah. That's right.
The vital part of the brain that controls our heart rate, our breathing, our immune system, our hormones, our coordination, our balance, and sleep. It's called the subconscious brain, which lies below the conscious or cortical brain. Everything in the body is automatically controlled from there.
Yeah.
So this neck is a blessed part of the body because, first of all, it supports the head. So the head won't go dangling and being all over the place.
That's right.
It houses the arteries that's needed to supply blood to the brain from the heart.
Yep.
Stay with me.
I'm with you.
The pair of arteries that nourishes this vital part of the brain is located in canals inside the neck vertebrae. Now, the neck is very fragile, and it can move in all sorts of directions because of the sensory organs like the eyes, ears, and nose. This is a disadvantage as the vertebrae can easily disalign, or its joints can frequently get dislocated due to whiplash, birth injuries, neck trauma, as we saw last Monday on Memorial Day.
Tell about it.
Moreover, stress, posture, and excess computer use can stiffen the neck.
That's right.
And as a result, it reduces blood supply to the brain and its subsequent malfunction. What a mighty creator that we have that would put our bodies together like this.
Yeah.
This causes poor well-being and reduction in energy level and breakdown of the immune system, etc., and etc. So isn't it strange that the very body part that this despicable ex-officer would place his knee? He could have placed it on his back.
Yeah.
He could have placed it on the top of his head, but look where the demonic focus is. On the neck. continue to think, I wondered if it has anything to do with, I don't know, in your life, but I've seen old folks when babies were born in their early stages of life, a couple of months old to toddler's age, old folks would always kiss a baby, not on their face,
Right, right.
but underneath their chin, which is the neck.
Yep.
I wondered, I just wondered if it had any correlation, the precious importance of the neck that grandmama and granddaddy or great-grandmama or big mama, Mama Lou or whatever title would kiss the child on the neck.
All right, all right.
So do you see how important the role of the neck? That an individual would use the neck to snuff out
My Lord. My
the
Lord.
life of another individual.
My Lord.
How dare he? To end the life of a man created in God's image
Jesus, Jesus.
and after his likeness.
Yes, yes, yes.
Now, I'm not going to entertain and spend energy on Mr. Floyd's life or upbringing, what he did, what he didn't do, what failures and disappointments, what defeats that he may have had, what he may have done criminally. I am not interested
That's right.
That's right.
in tearing down or scrutinizing. And any of you who are so spiritually deep in a holy roller and so got it all together, I would dare for you to look back over your shoulder
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and see what choices you have made.
Come on now.
Even to be in the seat of judgment this day or all week long, when the Bible tells us to judge not
Yeah.
unless ye be
Good.
judged.
Yeah.
But this importance of the neck, I was taken over to the story of Joseph. Joseph, a young black man. I don't care if they didn't say black man, but by virtue of where he was, tells me that he looked like maybe our brothers and our granddaddies and
Yeah, yeah.
our cousins this morning, our nephews, our sons, our grandsons.
Okay, okay.
This character, Joseph, is introduced, and Joseph is loved by his father, by his family, no doubt loved by his mother because she was able to birth him, but her life was snuffed after having his younger brother.
Yeah.
George Floyd's mama must have loved him because, and that was the part that brought me to tears last week when I heard him crying out for his mama.
My.
Any of us that have sons, particularly black and brown sons, you know, any of our children, but when you hear them crying out for mama, because that's the first person most children will cry out for.
Yeah.
And when do they cry out for them? In a matter of time of a distressful situation,
That's right.
a painful situation,
Yep.
and it's always hurtful for the mama when they can't get to the pain location.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
of their child. Come on,
Yeah.
walk with me.
Uh-huh.
And so it is evident that there was a relationship, a deep love and longing to hear this man in distress, in frustration, in fear,
Yeah.
cry out for his mom.
Come on now.
Joseph, loved by his mama before her passing in the birth time of his younger brother. Loved by his daddy.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure his daddy saw something in Joseph. Now that's not to discount the other brothers.
No.
But, you know, mamas know their children. I told you the other week, the incident with Leonard Jr. as a child, 3 years old, crying out. I knew that was his voice.
Yeah.
The Holy Ghost moved me from the sanctuary to the child center, but I knew when I opened the door. And you can be in a crowd of 100 or more children, and we mamas will know that is our child.
No ifs, ands, or buts.
The mama is always going to be in defense. Go near some recently laid eggs and try to remove
Come on now.
those eggs from the bird's nest.
Try it.
And mama will go there. Try taking a new breed of litter, and mama will go there.
Yeah.
I remember several years ago in Philadelphia, my cousin, who is now deceased, was sitting on his steps with some friends in Tioga, a section of Philadelphia. And I'm talking about over 50 years ago, with folks that didn't look like us, that was on law enforcement agencies,
Yeah.
was riding through the community and thought that it was okay to pick up young black men and take them somewhere else, whoop up on them, and then drop them off in a neighborhood that was in opposition. So let me hurry to this point. He was sitting on the step with some friends when two Caucasian officers drove up, jumped out the car like they was the Gestapos, and wanted to remove him. And his mother, who was only about 4 feet 10 or 11, was in the house, in the kitchen, minding her business. But she heard the commotion outside. When she came out, she heard the officers demanding and commanding that my cousin and his friends get up so that they could put the handcuffs on them and take them with them. And my aunt said, oh, no, sir, not today. No, sir. They wanted to know who she was because 4 feet, 10 or 11, and my cousin particularly was very well built. Do I need to tell you more? And she said, not tonight. And they began to converse very intently about how he was not going to remove my cousin and his friends. My aunt said, listen, if you're going to take somebody tonight to whoop up on them, then you got to take me along with them. Because not tonight will you beat or possibly kill that which I birthed.
That's right.
That's right.
And so we have it, I believe, built up in us as black mamas. We will go there about our children.
Yes. Amen.
And let me hasten to say, Beyond my two birth sons, I have some spiritual sons, and I'll fight for them too.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
I have 3 brothers, and we know that the oldest one fell asleep nearly 2 years ago. But my mom had this quote, and I'm going to just say it this morning to let you know. She used to say, when it comes to my sons, if they're doing wrong, then I will not support their wrongness. But if they're doing right, I will walk hell backwards.
That's right.
And spit wooden nickels
Sit with me.
before you try to take them out of here.
That's right.
And so Joseph, loved by his father, and his father seen potential in him, but the brothers became envious.
Yes.
And you know, it's like it is now that there are people all around about us
Yes.
that are envious and jealous of our accomplishments, our opportunities. Because see, they brought us here 401 years ago, and we were supposed to stay the slaves
Right.
Tell it. Tell it.
that they brought us here. How dare you
Yes, yes.
try to grow
Yes.
in grace?
Yeah.
How dare you try to accomplish anything?
Yes.
How dare you?
How dare you?
And so Joseph's brothers, they know sometimes we don't know him, but they, because of their jealousy and envy, they put him down in a hole.
Well,
But even in a hole, I want us to know today, even in distress, God knows
yeah.
all about our struggles.
Well,
Yeah.
And he will guide
yes, he will.
till the day is done. There's not a friend like the lowly Jesus.
No.
Yes, no.
No, not one.
Not one.
No, not one. They might have put their knee on the neck of George Floyd and snuffed out his life, but look at the rippling effect.
Come on now.
Yes, yes.
Look at how not only in these, as Dr. Jamal Bryant says, yet to be the United States of America, but even internationally, people are saying, I have had
Enough.
enough.
That's
Yes,
it.
yes.
I was saying to some members this morning that this situation has pulled the bandages, has pulled the mask, has pulled the cover-up of those who it's been in their heart all along. And so some merchants came along, and we know the story. They got Joseph up out of the hole. He was sold as a slave.
Yeah.
Taken to Potiphar's house, Potiphar the man,
Yes.
in the land at that time. Now I want you to know today, black men,
Come on now, I'm listening.
brown men, I want you to understand that God is still able
Yes, he is.
to take you from one place to another. When your life is hidden in Him, when you want to be in relationship with Him, He can take you to the house
Thank you, Lord.
Yes. God is able.
of the one who, at that time, running the land.
Yeah.
Potiphar, here again, saw something in Joseph that no doubt the daddy saw.
Yeah.
And he gave Joseph full reign
Yes.
over everything
For the house. Yeah.
in the house.
Yeah.
But the wife was off limits. Now Joseph, being a young man, a young teenager, but he was raised to know that I don't mess with what belongs to somebody else.
Well.
So even though Miss Potiphar wanted to be in relationship relationship with them. And listen, I'm talking to you guys. I want you to be careful of where you want to hang your hat.
Yep.
yes.
It is.
Of who you want to be in relationship with. Who you want to, let me just call it out, sleep with.
Yeah, it is.
Because everything that looks good to sleep with, glory to God,
Ain't good.
ain't good. And so Joseph refuted and rebuffed her advances.
Yeah.
He stood with integrity and character. He said, oh no. But what did it do? It caused Joseph to go to jail. And even today, I'm speaking to those of you because, you know, the officer, the other one of the Asian descent, he's going to tell the crowd, well, he shouldn't be on drugs. How do you know he was on drugs? Good question, isn't it? And then the other person ain't going to take time to say her name. Want to say she was not going to see him as a martyr, as a hero, because he was a criminal. He had been in jail.
Talk about it.
How dare you?
Talk about it.
Who are you?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he did. Jesus experienced what? Some trumped up charges.
Yes, he did.
Glory
Yes,
to
he did.
God.
Come on
Yes,
now.
he did.
They took him. Yeah.
They took Jesus
Come on now, preacher.
to jail.
Yes.
They took him to the courthouse.
Yeah.
They didn't say that they tied him with some ties or handcuffs, but because somebody betrayed him, he was taken
Yes.
to jail wrongfully,
Yeah.
given a mock trial,
Talk.
accused
Yeah.
falsely.
Yeah.
And they wanted and voted to crucify him.
Tell it now.
And so Joseph went to jail. He met the butler and the baker there. They said they was going to remember him when they got out lies or lies. And that's how people will do you.
Yes, they will.
People don't want to distance themselves
Yes.
from you and act like they didn't know you when they were down in the trenches with you. The baker and the butler, listen, when we get up out of here, we gonna remember, but God, come on,
Yeah.
but God.
But God.
See, some truth that's been crushed to the ground is gonna rise up out of this Minneapolis situation. We're gonna see some stuff that's been going on for years.
Yes.
I do believe.
Nearly 2 decades, the perpetrator served and was supposed to protect and serve. All kinds of charges filed, complaints filed against him, and nobody wanted to do anything. I am a firm believer, when you don't stand up for something,
Yes.
when you don't say what needs to be said,
Well,
when you are not confrontation, and confrontation doesn't mean gangster,
that's right.
but we have to stand up for the truth, for right and righteousness,
Yeah.
because it will come back to haunt. Nobody dared to spank him for nearly 19 years, and look now at the results.
Yep.
Nobody wanted to stand up. 4 years ago, Colin Kaepernick just simply said, I'm tired. I've had enough. of the police brutality and abuse. He said it. And everybody, including some folks who look like us, wanted to turn their head because they wanted to get a check. They didn't want to be distanced by the man in the White House.
Yeah.
And so they said he was wrong for kneeling. But he didn't kneel on anybody's neck.
No.
That's right.
Isn't that something?
That's right.
All of the hoopla and all of the rumblings about him taking a knee
Yeah.
for justice, a knee for what is right and righteous. But now, 4 years later,
Yeah.
a knee
Indeed.
put on the neck of a human being that was simply there.
Yeah.
And we don't know what went on because we weren't there. Even seeing some video taping is more to the story than what we've yet to see. But nobody deserves, and that's all Colin Kaepernick was saying, nobody deserves to be treated and mistreated for the color of their skin.
Yes. Yes.
And ladies, my sisters, black and brown, don't you think you're exempt from the equation?
Come on now.
Because we're not. Sandra Bland was simply just driving and was told to put out her cigarette in her own car. And you know we don't do suicide like that. Breonna Taylor, after working for the government
Yes.
on EMT duty in her own home.
Yes.
And so Joseph was able to interpret the dream. See, there's still the potential that nobody can wipe out of us. But if they put their knee on our neck, the part of the body that holds up the brain, supports the brain, the head, where the brain is located. Because they dare to say if they get loose with that brain that they've been given, we might be in trouble. So fearful of the neck. And because Joseph was able to interpret the dream, nobody else was able. The wise men, the enchanters, the soothsayers, nobody. But here comes Joseph. Now I want you to notice in the story around the 45th, Joseph had to be cleaned up to go before a Pharaoh. But after interpreting the dream, the ruler gave him a home in the land of Egypt, given a chariot, second in command of everything, a gold chain, and a ring. And you say, well, what does that have to do with the George Floyd story, preacher, and the neck? Keep going with me. And so Joseph realized that he was placed there by God because God had never left him. And so I'm here to tell you today, when we're in relationship with God through Jesus Christ under the power of the Holy Ghost, He did not promise that there wouldn't be some difficult days, that there wouldn't be some trying times, that there wouldn't be some days that we're lied on and falsely accused. But if God be for us,
Tell it.
who then can be against us? The same God who said, I'll prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. Now Joseph, second in command, why is he there? So that he can reach back and help his people. Did y'all hear me?
Amen.
So that he could reach back and help his people. Joseph was given the answers that there was a famine coming and that his people would need to eat. As many are doing now down in Atlanta, here in Maryland, in Temple Hills, Maryland. Many churches and facilities out on the Iverson parking lot. Many people are feeding, reaching back and feeding those who don't have. They do not have, but as the story continues to unfold, we know that Joseph's brothers was brought to the palace. And unknowingly, their brother Joseph was there.
Yeah.
And Joseph would be used to bless them.
Yeah.
Don't get weary
No.
in well-doing. In due time ye shall reap what you sow if you faint not. Joseph recognized them, but they didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
And finally, at the disclosing of who they were, Joseph said, listen, don't get scared. You meant it for evil.
Yeah.
But God meant it for the good. You know, Joseph didn't get into a long list of how y'all threw me in the pit.
No.
Then I went to Potiphar, y'all hear that? From the pit to Potiphar's house, the palace. And now Joseph is prince in the land. Distributing things to his family. But Joseph said, but where is my brother Benjamin?
Yeah.
Born from the same womb.
Yeah.
How's my daddy doing? And here's the connection. Joseph set up a plan for them to have to finally bring Benjamin to him.
There it is.
Because he said, listen, I ain't letting this one go.
Yeah.
Do the praise. I ain't letting the one praise go.
Yeah, ain't let my praise go.
Until, glory to God.
Yeah.
I ain't letting none of y'all go until you bring me my brother Benjamin.
Yeah.
And here's how the net connects.
Yes.
On last Monday, the celebration of Memorial Day, a knee was put on the neck to kill an innocent man.
My.
But here Joseph, when he got in the presence of his brother Benjamin,
Yes.
the Bible doesn't say that he hugged him. The Bible says he went straight for the neck. And he kissed and wept on the neck of his brother Benjamin. The place of blessing.
Yes.
The place that holds up the head and causes the supply of blood to flow from the heart to the head to the computer, the brain.
Yes.
Joseph didn't stop there
Uh-huh.
with wanting to get to that place of blessing the neck.
Well,
When he came in the presence of his father,
yeah, Lord.
Joseph again kissed that very precious part of the body.
Yeah.
Come on, you can read it in chapter 45 and then go over to 46.
Yeah.
And he wept
Yes, he did.
on that precious part,
Yeah.
the neck.
Yes.
Come here, John, the one that loved Jesus.
Yeah.
And Jesus loved at the Last Supper.
Yeah.
Yes.
It says that John laid his head
Yeah.
upon the shoulder of Jesus. But what's connected to the shoulder?
Yeah.
That precious position, that precious part,
Yeah.
the neck.
Done that.
So the neck is important.
Yes,
Yes.
So I want us today to lift up our heads. Oh, ye gates.
Yeah.
I want us, brothers and sisters,
Yeah.
to begin to embrace your neck,
Yes.
knowing that the neck
Yeah.
Yes.
will supply the blood.
Yeah.
The blood that came streaming down.
Come on now.
The blood that was shed on Calvary's cross.
Yes.
If you notice that the Roman soldiers, they did everything to every part
Yeah.
of Jesus' body.
Well.
But we don't hear that they touched the neck.
Well.
They didn't bother the neck because God knew that the neck was holding Jesus' head.
Yeah.
Because Jesus said, no man, glory to God,
Yes.
taking my life,
My
Yeah.
Lord.
I lay it down,
Yeah.
and I have the power to pick it back up.
Yeah.
And so Jesus bound his head
Yes,
that
Lord.
was connected to the neck.
Yes.
And he gave up the ghost. He said, it is finished.
Yeah, Lord.
And into thy hands. He wanted us to know he was still connected to the head. He said, into thy hands.
My Lord.
Into thy hands. I commend my spirit. And it didn't stop there.
No.
They took Jesus down. They put him in a borrowed tomb. But early on the first day of the week,
Come on now.
Jesus arose with his neck intact, with his head lifted up,
Yeah.
and said, all power
All power.
is in my hands,
Yeah.
in heaven and in earth.
Yes,
So I want us to not fear today.
Come on now.
Yes.
Be encouraged.
Yeah.
I know you might be feeling stressful and distressed. You might be feeling, brother man, a little anxious as to what is going to happen to you.
Yeah.
But God is able
Yes, He
to
is.
keep every part of our bodies.
Yes, he is. Yes. Thank you.
And he definitely keeps the precious part, the neck.
Yes.
And so even though there's some negativity connotation about the neck of George Floyd, but I thank God today
Yes.
for his giving us in creation,
Yes.
as he created and carved out our bodies,
Yes.
that he gave us the neck to be connected to the head. Stay connected.
Yeah.
Stay connected and make sure that you embrace your neck.
Yeah.
Don't let whiplash cause misalignment.
Yeah.
The whiplash of discrimination.
Yes.
The whiplash of racism and abusive, vile, and profane talk against you. Keep stretching your neck
Yeah.
that's connected to your head.
Mm-hmm.
And who is our head? God Almighty.
Yes, He is.
He reminds us that He is our Creator
Yes.
and we are the creation.
Yes.
So some of you today may be walking around and not knowing what else to do. Hiding out because you don't want those who are under the duty to protect and serve. But I know somebody that can protect you from the storm.
Yeah.
And he'll ride out the storm with you.
Yeah.
Won't you come today and lift your head up? Lift your head up that's on top of your neck. And come saying, what can I do to be saved? What can I do to be in relationship with the head?
Yeah.
How can I embrace the precious part of my body, the neck? Acknowledging and recognizing that it's connected. So won't you come today? Give your life to Jesus. That's the connection. Because he said no man can come to the Father unless by me. So won't you come today? Now that you know the role of the neck that they meant last week for evil.
Yeah.
But you know that the neck is a blessed part of your body.
Yes.
You can go on our webpage, send us an email. But right now you can confess with your mouth and believe in your heart that you are saved, and the Bible says that you're saved. But we'll pray with you and talk with you, and we'll welcome you in to this fellowship known as the New Day Church of Christ. I will be, hallelujah, happy to be your pastor, to help by the guidance of the Spirit, to guide you through His Word and through prayer, through study, through fasting, how to be a servant of the Most High God. God bless you, and go in peace. And remember the role of the neck. It's serving a purpose, and it's a significant purpose. We bless you today. Amen.